What is good, all you cool cats and kittens? And this is your commissioner, Tim, back at you with the week 5 recaps and week 6 previews. It was a fun week. Atlanta Falcons offense finally took off on Thursday Night Football, and this actually was the highest scoring week for the entire season in the NFL. So we had some high scoring matchups. This video is going to be quick, simple. We're going to go through just the recaps of last week as well as the previews and my commissioner pick'ems for this week. And that will do it for this video with the power rankings to wrap it all up, of course. I'm recording from San Francisco, and I'll be looking forward to finally watching Thursday Night Football, Sunday games, and Monday at the right time. So I'm already excited to continue to be able to have some live chat conversations with y'all on trades. So this has been exciting. But with that said, let's get to the recaps. Moving over to the first matchup from the first this past week. We have full Jerry going against Wooksy Fingerhold. If John was going to stay in the playoff push, this was absolutely a must win for him. This one was pretty close, ended up becoming a difference of just 0.62 points that John ended up taking on a Monday night game. But as predicted, I thought John would pull off the win, and now John sits at a comfortable 2-3. He is just a game behind the 6th seed right now. We'll see Fingerhold drops to 1-4 after starting off the season with a promising win. He drops to 4 straight now. That said, 129 is nothing to scoff at. That was a respectable week. And he's got to be thrilled with how Caleb's been playing back-to-back weeks as well. All right, moving over to the second matchup, we have Brady Dynasty going up against Two Shots No Cup. I picked this one for a Brady Third Dynasty to have a pretty easy win. But man, this also almost came pretty close throughout the Monday games as well, throughout the late games. But that's fine because Brady's Third Dynasty moves up to 4-1 with 2 straight, and Eve drops to 1-4. But again, 110, nothing to scoff at. That was a good output for Eve. Moving over to the third matchup, we had Kevin going up against Bills Mafia. Kevin drops to 3-2, and Bills Mafia now goes up to 3-2. Kevin had this lowest scoring week on a week where everyone scored at least, I believe, 110 points. Kevin drops 71. Bills Mafia goes 136. Again, there's something off about Brandon's roster. It's just not hitting on all the cylinders. I do think he's actually going to have a better week this week with Pat Mahomes on bye. So we'll talk about his matchup previews in a little bit. But Bills Mafia scores a respectable 136. And now he is tied fourth, I believe, in the league, or tied for third in the league, I believe. All right, moving over to the fourth matchup from last week with Montgomery Cats remaining perfect at 5-0 over his win over Mr. Ambassador. That's right. This was the matchup that went pretty close unexpectedly off the backs of Kareem Hunt having a pretty good night. If Pat Mahomes would have thrown a little bit of long open bombs as Xavier Worthy was open on, I think Mr. Ambassador would just have pulled enough to pull off probably the craziest and biggest upset in CCK history. But alas, comes up just short. Montgomery Cats remains undefeated with a really nice 141 here. Mr. Ambassador stays just with 1 win for the season. Moving on to the last recap of last week, we had the commissioner's pick of the week. It was Trust the Process against Huge Dicka. Trust the Process pulls off the victory here, moves up to 3-2. Meanwhile, Huge Dicka drops a loss here, making a second straight loss, sitting at 2-3. Trust the Process puts up the highest in the league, back on the winning column again after a pretty disappointing week 4, but goes over 160. And I believe this was the first week I had everything right on the commissioner's picks. All right, that said, let's move over to week 6. This is a critical week that we're moving into. Playoff pictures are getting pretty tasty, so we're excited to see what the matchups are. All right. The first matchup is going to be Trust the Process against Kevin. I've got myself winning this one. Sleepers agree. 65% win probability over to my side. I think I'm going to go up to 4-2. Kevin's going to drop to 3-3. Next matchup, we got Full Jerry. 2-3 Full Jerry against 1-4 Mr. Ambassador. Sleeper thinks Full Jerry is going to take the 64%. Mr. Ambassador 36. I actually think Mr. Ambassador is going to get his second win of the season here. All right, we got the third matchup, Two Shots No Cup, 1-4. And we got the undefeated Moncton Meerkats. It's the battle of the Maples. Sleepers got this going 80% to the defending champion. Uh, Not going to disagree with Sleeper there. All right, we got Huge Dicka with Wooksy Fingerhold, 2-3 Huge Dicka against 1-4 Wooksy Fingerhold. Sleepers got this going over 2 Huge Dicka. I'm going to agree with that pick. And lastly, here's the commissioner's pick of the matchup of the week. Last match, Brady Stewart Dynasty against Bills Mafia. It's a 4-1 team against a 3-2 team. Both teams are playing well. Sleepers actually got this 50-50. I think it's the first time I've actually seen a matchup going 50-50 on projections, and I double checked to make sure that all of their starters were in, even though there were some buys. And it is. It's all filled in. All 10 starters are rolled in. Bills Mafia is actually going to be starting where he has to start Baker over Pat Mahomes as the Kansas City Chiefs have their bye this week. And that's it. I think Baker's been a better quarterback, more likely a high scorer than what Pat Mahomes would have done. And with that change, I think that's just enough to get Bills Mafia to pull off the win against Brayster Dynasty. And I see Bills Mafia moving up to 4-2 to make it a three-way tie at the 4-2 teams heading into next week in week 7. Okay, so that brings us to the last section heading into this week. We got the power rankings, y'all. Sorry, it says week 4. This is obviously the week 6 week 5 power rankings. No movements at the top. I do have full Jerry moving up, taking the spot over Kevin. That's the only change we see here. And that's because John's obviously got a stronger team. He pulled off the win here. If you look at the probabilities, huge stick with obviously with the loss, not really impacting his playoff chances that much. Drops just from 80% to 77% for this week. Full Jerry with that win, going from 1-3 to 2-3 over his victory over Wooksy Fingerhold, moves up 15% to 79% playoff probability. So we'll see if he's actually rebuilding or not. But for as long as he is, it looks like he can absolutely take the 6th seat there. As for Kevin, he drops the biggest margin for this week in the league, drops 13 points. Now he's down to 43%. Still, I do think that 6th seed is anyone's game, and I do think it's going to be the 4 through the 6th seed. There's 4 teams that I think can take any of those things right now. So the 3 spots up to 4. And I think it's pretty clear that 8th and 9th and 10th between Sergey, Brad, and Eve, they're going to be out of the playoffs this season. And Fantasy Pros has it at 1% or less for all 3 of those teams. So we'll see these rebuilding teams continue to build for the future here. But again, trade deadline, I believe, is week 10, week 11. So we're gearing up. We're over the halfway mark now towards the deadline for Dynasty in CCK. So excited to see what the movements are. We obviously had some moves with Eve, no longer content on just trying to rebuild forever. So he made some gutsy calls on acquiring Drake London, who had a great game on Thursday Night Football. And I believe he was the wide receiver 1 overall, and picking up Justin Fields as well, who hopes to have secured that starting quarterback position long term for the Steelers. So that said, that does it for me, boys. Wraps it up for the week 5 recaps and the week 6 previews. Cannot believe I'm saying this, but I cannot believe it's already 6 weeks into this amazing game of football for the 2024 season of the NFL. Good luck with Thursday Night Football to our Niners fans, and enjoy the Thursday Night Football games, Sunday and Monday games. Peace, boys.